If I could have your attention here in the media center and up in the press box, we will begin our post-race media availability for the 60th annual Daytona 500. We're joined by tonight's third-place finisher, Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Express Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Denny, wild finish to this race. Please walk through those closing laps from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, definitely put ourselves in position on the final restart. You know, it was a debate on the radio which lane to choose. Obviously, doing this long enough that I know that it's made or break by the 5th and 6th place drivers. It's not really who's directly behind you. And I looked and felt like the 21 was probably going to be one of the best pushers. I felt like I saw how strong his car was. You know, and so we try to get on the radio and get, you know, the 37 behind us, the 21, to try to buy in on, you know, whatever line gets organized the most is going to win the race. And not necessarily line, but those are the cars that's going to battle out for the victory. And we had full commit from the 37. He stuck with us. But when the 21 bailed, it just messed up the inside line, and you know, the outside line prevailed at that point. So just 50-50 coin flip, and chose the wrong lane. Honestly feel like there was nothing else I could have done, just made a different decision there on lane choice. But you know, heartbroken for Eric, excited for Austin, disappointed for myself.
Okay, we're going to open the floor up for questions. If you have a question for Denny, please raise your hand. We will get a wireless microphone to you. We're going to start with Mike, then go to Joseph.
Mike Kimber, USA Today. Denny, are we at the point with these cars and these tracks where a wreck, in effect, is going to win virtually every race? And if so, is that okay?
A wreck will win.
A wreck will produce the winner in some way or other in the last couple laps.
You know, I don't know when the last time a speedway race has been won off someone getting into another competitor, but certainly as big as with this aero package, as big as the holes are getting punched in the air, it's certainly almost inevitable that, you know, there'll be some kind of contact for the lead late in the race, which some could argue that's a good thing, some a bad thing. You know, it just depends on what end you are. If you're in the stands, you probably love it. So it's exciting, but you know, it's very strategic. It also took out a lot of really good cars today, but you know, we're the ones driving it. You know, that they're not making us make the mistakes that we're making. So I think that's okay. I wouldn't, you know, panic and change anything. Really didn't get a good enough view of the final wreck with the 10 and the 3 to really comment on whose fault, if anyone's fault. It's, you know, could be just a racing thing. You never know. But definitely we weren't going to win it at that point unless, you know, they took each other out. So tough day for us. Started really great, ended really great. You know, bad finish.
Go next to Joseph.
Joseph Walken, frontstretch.com. After your wreck at the end of the race, Bubba Wallace said you need to take some Adderall. Do you ever respond to that, and what's your take on what happened there?
I blew my right front tire out when he came down and side drafted me, so I didn't have any control of my car, because when he came down there, I was just on the yellow line. Nothing I could have done, and it blew my right front tire out with his fender.
Any additional questions for Denny Hamlin? Denny, thanks for joining us. Good luck next week in Atlanta.
Thank you.
If I can have your attention in the media center and up in the press box, we are now joined by the runner-up for today's 60th annual Daytona 500 here at Daytona International Speedway. And it's none other than Darrell Wallace Jr., driver of the number 43 Click and Close Chevrolet for Richard Petty Motorsports. Not only was Darrell the highest finishing Sunoco rookie in the race today, but he's also the highest finishing African-American driver in the Great American Race. A second place finish. besting the previous mark set by NASCAR Hall of Famer Wendell Scott in 1966. Bubba, that was a wild race out there, wild finish. Walk through this final laps for us.
Daytona. Jesus Christ.
Come on,
I got lost out there. Man, you did that thing, baby. I am so proud of you, baby. I'm so proud of you. You have waited so long, baby.
You act like we just won the race.
Hey, we did. Hey, we did. we did win that race, baby. We did. I love you, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, love you.
God dang it, Mom. Where's my sister at?
Brittany.
Might as well get them all out of the way, right?
Thank you.
So proud of you.
Thank you. Love you. Just so y'all know, I do have an older sister. This is her. That's where I get my looks from. Oh, I love you. Oh, Jesus Christ, Mom. Come on now. I'm going to talk like this. All right, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
I was going to say walk through the final laps, but forget the final laps. Walk through just the emotion of this moment for you right now.
Oh, it's a sensitive subject, but I'm just so emotional over where my family has been the last 2 years that I don't talk about it, but it's just so hard. And so having them here to support me is... Pull it together, bud. Pull it together. You just finished second. It's awesome. I just try so hard to be successful at everything I do, and my family pushes me each and every day, and they might not even know it, but I just want to make them proud. And second is horrible, but it's still a good day. But yeah, I just love my family, and having everybody here, from my mom, my sister, my uncle, everybody here just means a lot. Next question. Get me off this subject.
Walk through the final laps, please.
Yeah.
That's quite a finish.
I said, "Uh-oh," for the green-white checkered. I didn't know if we'd end up. Well, we still ended up in the infield care center, but damn it. But just wild. I mean, it's Daytona, so you just gotta be relaxed for it the whole time, and just like the duels, I just found myself. I just found myself looking back, like a third perspective again, just like, man, you're so calm. You're doing great. Just kind of pumping myself up, but at the same time, just trying to stay focused on the task at hand and to not mess up. So we battled through a lot of adversity there, and just been able to run every lap. And I wish I could say bring the car home in one piece, but what a great car! What a great click and close Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Just fast all day, fast all week, and I think there was a lot of talk in the garage of how good our car was at pushing, and I think that gave me a lot of respect out there to be able to do what I can do. So having everybody from Click and Close here, Richard Petty, that's another story I'll get to in a second, but just a great night.
We're going to open the floor up for questions. If you have a question for Bubba, please raise your hand and get a wireless mic to you. We're going to start here with Holly, then go to Bob.
Holly Kane, the NASCAR Wire Service. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I just wondered if you could talk. The King and Drew were very complimentary of you. This wasn't just an end of the race, he ended up top 5. You ran hard all day. You were up front all day. Could you talk about the effort of the entire race and really, earning this position?
Yeah, no, it's thanks to the King and Brian Moffitt, Andrew Murstein for giving me this opportunity and believing in me those 4 races last year. I just went out and tried not to be a hero like the King told me right before climbing in, And I didn't try to be a hero tonight. And we're sitting here second, being able to talk to you guys about a great finish for my first Daytona 500. So, the chemistry we have with the team is it's incredible. Drew and I just hit it off. Like when I walked into the garage at Pocono last year, it was like, boom, there it is. We have it. And before we even said anything, we knew it was something there. So we're able to build off that. And he's really good at managing races and calling races. And when I mess up, like sliding through the box there, he just repeats it over and over that we're fine. Just settle in, refocus, and just go out there and do what you do, and don't do it again, obviously. But just the team we have behind us right now is so much fun, and knowing that we're a smaller budget team. We have a lot of poise and a lot of attitude, and just a lot of stuff to fight for this year. So I'm really looking forward to Atlanta. Don't know what the hell we'll have there because it's all new for us. So I know this will carry over to Atlanta and be good.
We're going to go to Bob, then to Dan, then to Brendan, then to Kelly.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. How taxing has this whole week been on you with all the cameras and all the the Facebook deal and all that? And then also, can you talk about getting the call from Hank Aaron before the race?
Yeah. Where's Griffin at? Where's my camera crew at? There he is. Griffin, him and I have almost come to blows over this Facebook deal. Not really, but it's just we both know how stressful it is, and we're both just trying to do our jobs, and it's been very taxing on that. And Griffin, I'm not doing another interview after this, so this is all you're getting. The race went great. We ran 500 miles at Daytona. My first Daytona 500, we finished second. Got it. Put that in there. We're done. Yeah. His favorite question is, what do we do today? But just an incredible moment. To be in that position. It takes me back to a week ago when Dale called me, right? As soon as I landed here, he says, hey, the next 3 or 4 weeks are going to be busy for you. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. Just come off a stressful night. And he just had the words to bring that positive light back up that I try to carry with me every day. And he says, I have the opportunity to do things outside of the sport that not really anybody else can. So take that, run with it, and set yourself up from 10 years from now and look back on it and see how you did.
Go next to Dan.
Dan Gelson, Associated Press. Darrell, what did the King tell you before the race, and what was your what was it like with him after the race?
Well, he did tell me last night. I was his Uber back from dinner, so I brought him back to the bus, and we're just making small talk, no cameras there, and I was just we were talking what it was like. He's been here since day one, running on the beaches, and ever since this was built. And just hearing all that, just was like, wow. First of all, I wasn't even born yet. Wasn't even a thought yet. My parents were just born, just kind of showing his age there, and just to hear what he had to talk about. But right as we pulled in the bus lot, he was talking, just park at your bus, I'll walk over. I'm like, no, I'll take you to your bus. We're not far. And he's like, all right, can you do a burnout? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then all of a sudden he follows up, if you do a burnout in the race car, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. So I'm like, oh, all right. So we got that out of the way. But I think having him and then after the race, let me get to that, to where my heart's still pumping over that. I'm sitting on the cot in the infield care center, and I'm pissed off about the finish, obviously. And he walks in livid, and I'm like, yes, he's mad. Let's go do something. And he walks in, and the first thing he says, what's the first thing I told you, with a very stern attitude and look? And I'm like, And he says, I told you not to wreck the car. And I was like, I didn't do it. So we shared a good laugh, and he come in and gave me a big hug after that. He to see the smile on his face, I think you had to be there to experience that moment. All the liaisons in there were pretty nervous for me too until he cracked the joke. But just a great day to see, a great week. Seeing him after the duels, how pumped up he was, and just the same amount of emotion, if not more, right here after the race.
We're going to go to Brendan, then to Kelly, then to Kenny, then upstairs to the press box.
Hey, Bubba, right here. Brendan Mark, Charlotte Observer. Congrats.
Thank you, man.
Off. You said that the King told you not to try and be a hero. What did you expect for yourself, sort of going into the race? Could you have imagined this? And then when during the race did you realize that you really had a chance to make a push?
I don't have the experience as anybody out there. I got the rookie stripes for a reason. So making some of those moves today, I was a little bit delayed and a little bit late, and luckily kept out of harm's way. But it just all comes with time. And jumping into the Xfinity Series, I was I have the attitude and just the confidence to win every race that you enter. But we all know that's not going to happen. And so jumping in tonight, I had the same attitude, but I just knew the circumstances and how this race plays out and the moves you have to make and the defending and blocking that you have to do. And I've never done it to this level. So I was like, if we get put in that position, here we go, hang on. But, unfortunately we never did, but we come to a really close second, and I was able to push the RCR affiliate teammate there out to the win. So congrats to Austin. That was cool.
Come down here to your right to Kelly.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Bubba, two things. You saved your race there at the end with that save in turns 1 and 2 where you threw sparks and dirt tracked it. Can you just describe going through that? And the second thing is, in the beginning of the race, you looked really antsy when you were second. It looked like you wanted to lead the race. What was going through your mind then?
Yeah, I think I was just trying to learn stuff there, make those bold moves, see what happens. And try to, and if we fell back, it wasn't the end of the world, but just try to defend off the guys behind me. I think it was myself and Denny that were out front, and wasn't really trying to get by him, but I just wanted to, lead the bottom line, go back to the top line. Everything that you've watched from Brad doing, Joey doing, Ryan did it all night tonight. So I wanted to experience that for a little bit, and I got to. So my notebook was jotted down for sure. But then after the pit stops, we were just so hard on the splitter, and it looked like I was just kind of driving around, but I was playing it smart, trying to save my race car. Oh, the save. Yeah, there's a reason I skipped that. I don't want to talk about it. Woo-wee. Daytona.
Let's go to Kenny. Then we're going to go upstairs to the press box, and we'll come back down.
Kenny Bruce with KennyBruce.net. Darrell, you were asked about Hank earlier. You also got a tweet, I think, from Lewis Sullivan.
Mm-hmm. Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton, my bad. What do those types of things mean to you?
Sullivan.
When you see those things?
No. That was cool. My manager, Kyle, who's also my big brother over there, he walks in the bus. Guess who just followed you? And I'm like, who? He said, Lewis Hamilton. I'm like, what? Freaking out, fangirling out. That's cool. I look up to him. He does so many great things in the F1 world. So he's just a genuine badass in what he does. So that was cool. And then he sent out a tweet, and I got weak at the knees. Luckily, I was sitting down when I was replying to him. I think I was taking a golf cart ride out to an appearance, and I replied back. So really cool and really special. For Hank Aaron to also call right there before was really special. And just knowing that people are tuning in and hopefully noticing the new face and the new change that's coming to NASCAR, and they get behind it and support it. So just exciting.
We're going to head upstairs to the press box.
Bubba, congratulations. Denny claims that he got a flat tire at the start-finish line at the checkered flag. Do you buy that?
It looked kind of like the same move he pulled on at Ryan at Martinsville, if I remember correctly, last year with that mayhem. But if I did, or if that happened, okay, so be it. But it just seems like he got off of me a little bit and then turned back into me. I know the cars drive crazy and whatnot, and they're a handful, but it just didn't seem like that right away. But it was tough to see from that angle, anyways. So who knows? We're both pissed off at each other, but we're racers. We're competitive, and we'll go into Atlanta and be fine. I might be kicked out of the basketball league, but whatever. And golf league too. Whatever.
We'll go back here to Donna Beth. Right behind you, buddy.
Donna Beth Wildman, Martinez News Gazette, Benicia Herald. I've been talking to a lot of drivers, and rookies have a bit of a reputation in general. But the drivers that have been seasoned veterans are speaking with respect of you. Clint Boyer said, you earned this ride, and you're earning the respect of the veteran drivers. How are you able to do that so quickly?
I don't know. Thanks, Clint. I've always kind of tested his waters, and it's like, hey, Clint, oh, okay, no, all right. Hey, Clint, okay. Thanks, Clint. I don't know. I just be myself and try not to be a jackass out on the track. And just try to, from running trucks and Xfinity, it was always, hold a steady line. That's how you're going to gain respect. And I think all throughout practice and the duels, just having the right guys behind me, working with Newman a lot this weekend. I think, he was a big fan. I don't know if he'll ever admit it, but yeah, it's just trying to run my own race and not cause any havoc out there. If you run a good, clean race, run all the laps, then I think you'll get a lot of respect. And I think our cars, the way my guys built our car, we were a really good push car. We got behind there a little bit. And I'm like, man, we're not really going anywhere, but I can just run over these guys, and we're really making some ground up a little bit. But that's just hats off to the guys back at the shop and everybody on this 43 Chevrolet Click and Close Camaro Z01. Yeah. So that's it.
Well done. Let's go back up to the press box.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Were you at a point there right at the white flag where you thought you might be sniffing a win, or did Austin just have too much of a lead at that point?
I've watched a couple of these races, and I got down to 10 to go, and I said, all right, we still got about 2 hours left here. I'm all good in here, so I'm not thinking about it. And even on the white flag, we still got 2.5 miles to go. With Logano breathing down my neck, knowing that he likes to just dart out and everybody's going to go with him. So I'm just trying to keep him in my mirror. So I think I was, full of thinking about that and not really thinking about, winning the race, knowing that we still had to get through 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and, almost got caught up there on the backstretch. But, still, anyways, it's a good day. Just to come home second, just come home with a finish here at Daytona. A lot of cars wrecked out early, and we were able to capitalize on that. So it really means a lot to be able to just run all the laps, have a good, clean race, and earn the respect of your peers.
And how are you feeling? I know you were kind of a little puny, like Wednesday.
Puny?
Well, it's one way to describe it. You weren't feeling well earlier in the week. You feeling better now?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm all right. I'm a little emotional right now, but all good. Thank you.
We're going to go next to Dinah, then to Holly, then to Jim, then to Mike.
Dinah Pulver with the Daytona Beach News Journal. We've seen your colorful personality, but tonight we've seen a lot of emotion. Are you always this emotional, or did you expect to be this emotional after this good finish?
No, I usually just sprinkle a little water and sprinkle tears on my face to make it look like I'm not emotional. But no, I'm just I get that. No matter what the circumstances are, when you have family here and you run good, and it's been a while since you've been somewhat competitive. I mean, it pulls on the heartstrings. So I'm competitive. I love to win. I hate to finish second. And, obviously that shows for everybody. But, I'm human. No matter if I race cars for a living and enjoy doing it, at the end of the day, we all get emotional about something. So I'm just the same as you guys.
Holly?
Holly Kane, NASCAR Wire Service. I wanted to ask you because over the course of your career, you had some times that were very uncertain. Mm-hmm. And you stayed with it, and you were positive, and you joked on Twitter about this could be the sponsor, that could be the sponsor. Could you just talk a little bit about how you feel and where you are today versus even 2 years ago, and the power that you felt in terms of sticking this out and staying with your dream?
Yeah, no, it's just all about adversity and, looking at the stuff you've gone through. It's motivation. Here come the emotions again. God. But, on the sponsorship side, it's tough. I mean, we should all be firing a tweet to Domino's because if we finish second, we should at least get free pizza for the media room, right? So they're missing out on that ball. But that's why we have great partners like Click and Close. They take the big step not knowing anything about NASCAR, right? And they take the big step and believe in me and give me an opportunity that not a lot of people get. So I had to capitalize. Never quit.
Go next to Jim Utter, then to Mike.
Jim Utter, Motorsport.com. You referenced a little bit earlier about not sure about what you would have at Atlanta. From a competitive standpoint, did you feel a little bit more confident about what was possible at Daytona because of that uncertainty, or are you just not sure what you're going to have next week?
I think the exciting thing about Daytona is, unless you're just coming there just to run at the back of the pack all day and accept a finish, But everybody that shows up to Daytona has a shot. That's just that's what Daytona produces, and Talladega as well. It doesn't matter who you are, a very low budget team or a top dollar team. Everybody has a shot to win. So, that's why we always say when we go to Atlanta, that's when we really see what who's playing what cards. So, just from everything that's been going on in the offseason, switching over to Chevrolet, the alliance with RCR, they were rebuilding their stages there at the end of the year for their program. So we're heading in there like we're gonna win that race. But at the same time, we also know we have a lot of things to check off the list.
We're going to go to Mike, and then we're going to wrap up with Peter.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. Every driver thinks they should be in the Cup Series. If they don't, they probably shouldn't be driving a race car. But at this moment for you, was it when you signed your contract? Was it when you rolled in here this week? Or was it when you took the checker today that you finally have that belief in yourself that, yes, you are officially a Cup Series driver full-time?
I think the Vegas test, really, we get to test again. That's nice. I think going there, it's like, okay, we're able to do all these things, 2-day test here, get familiar with the cars, and get to experience these cars and how fast they are. You know, we're faster at Vegas than we are here. It's incredible. And just getting to experience that, and then coming down here just kind of put the icing on the cake. You know, being on this side of the garage, knowing my haulers over here, and getting to see how the fans interact with the windows, which I think is great. Not just walking through and, hey, what's up, waving everybody at the top because I'm going to cheer on, ex-teammates or whatever they are. It's my garage, it's all my guys. It's our team, and I think that's special. So I'm enjoying it all. Just taking it day by day.
Peter?
Hey, Bubba. Peter Karasotis, New York Times. Exactly what did Hank Aaron say to you, and how surprised were you to hear from him?
Yeah, he just said, hey, good luck, and just have a good race today, and that was it. He knew that we were pressed for time, and it was 5 seconds, and that's all he said. And that was really cool. And so when Merstein come up to me and say, hey, Hank Aaron's on the line, I'm like, what? That's awesome. So I was pretty excited about that. Drew, what up, dog? How about that? Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Good job, brother. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Well, Bubba, congratulations on the finish today. Good luck next week in Atlanta, and good luck for the remainder of the season.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
If I could have your attention here in the media center and up in the press box. We are now joined by the champion of today's 60th annual Daytona 500, and that is none other than Austin Dillon, driver of the number 3 DOW Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. This is Austin's second victory and 159 Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series starts. Of course, your first victory of 2018, and you have joined the ranks of drivers who have now won the Daytona 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. Amazing accomplishment today. I just have to ask you, talk us through the final lap.
I don't know. I think I blacked out, and just everything just kind of kept going, and we were staying in the gas, and things were happening fast, and I kind of knew it was the checkered flag, and it was green, white, checkered, so we crossed the line once, and I was like, okay, this is it right here, and got to give a shout-out to my buddy Bubba. I raced with him in Bandoleros, Legends cars, and glad he's got him a good ride in the 43, and that ECR engine gave us a good push down the backstretch, and when we caught the 10, he tried to block, and I just had a lot of momentum, and last lap of the Daytona 500, you just don't lift, and actually the last couple laps, we're lucky to get through there, but man, this place is awesome. I don't know what it is about storylines in Daytona. This place just creates history, and proud to be a part of it and make some history here tonight.
Well, walking up to the stage right now is a gentleman who is no stranger to Victory Lane, also here at the World Center of Racing. That's Richard Childress. Richard, 20 years ago, you were celebrating with Dale Earnhardt in the 3-car in Victory Lane. What's it like to be able to celebrate with Austin here tonight?
It's incredible, to come back 20 years later after Dale's great victory here and to be able to celebrate it 20 years later with my grandson in the number 3 car. It's just a storybook tale, and I couldn't be prouder of him, his race team, and the Earnhardt family. I called them about running Kelly and Dale Jr. running the 3, and they supported us all the way. So, and for all the number 3 fans that stuck with us and pulled for Austin, it's just I'm speechless, I guess.
Where's my people at, man? Where's Pockris and Gluck and all these guys that travel every weekend? What about it, huh? Austin?
While we wait for Justin to get on stage, we'll go to Jeff Gluck for a question.
Jeff
I think
Gluck
I
from-
talked to Jeff the other day, didn't I? Where's he
Jeff
at?
Gluck from jeffgluck.com over here. Hi. So Austin, Eric Almirola said he's not mad at you because he understood what was going on there, that he threw a block and you were both trying to win the 500. But people are mad online about what you about the move. Can you explain what options you had aside from doing that, if there were any other options?
I guess I could have lifted it and gave it to him. I guess that was my other option. Give up a Daytona 500 ring that I'm wearing. I don't know. I'm glad he's not mad. If he needs to do it to me at Talladega for everybody to feel good, I got a Daytona 500 championship trophy ring, whatever. I don't care. I got the 3 back in victory lane at Daytona. It feels pretty good.
And we are also joined by crew chief Justin Alexander. Justin, congratulations on your win in the Great American Race. How nervous were you on that final lap?
Man, it was like slow motion, really. Austin did everything he needed to do. He stayed in the outside lane. He side drafted when he needed to. 43 helped us out there, and to win these races, you gotta put yourself in position to be there at the right time. And he did it. Austin did what it took, and I don't know, it was crazy. It was kind of surreal, still surreal.
Okay, we're going to continue with questions. We're going to go to Jenna, then to George.
Jennifer, EP, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's for Richard, though. I want to ask him. Dale Jr. was in here this morning, and he was asked about his thoughts on Daytona. And he said that he had to make peace with this place a long time ago. He had to decide if he was going to love it or hate it. I'm wondering what you think of this place. And, with all the history you have, and now you're making new history with your grandson, what do you think of this place?
Daytona's been a special place for me. In 1965, I came down here and slept in a tent over here off of Nova Road, and I fell in love with it. And I remember making my first laps myself here in 1969, and went around the top of the track, and I went and called my wife. I said, I just drove around where the Daytona 500 is against the wall. And it's just special, and then so many great memories, and then the sad memory of losing Dale in 2001. We were ready to get out of the sport at that point, and I thought of a story that Dale and I talked about on a mountain over in New Mexico one day, and I know I did what he wanted us to do and to be here, and I know he's smiling down tonight on this number 3 win and victory. It's just a special place.
We're going to go next to George, then to Bob, then to Mike.
Congratulations, Austin, right here in front of you, George Diaz. Do you have, of the Orlando Sentinel, do you have any memories of 20 years ago? I guess you were, 7, and Victory Lane, and you're just a kid, I'm assuming, just enjoying the moment.
I was just having fun collecting hats and crawling on the trophy. And pretty cool to look back. We have an office in the museum kind of tucked away, and the senior 98 car is sitting right there, and the wind constantly plays right there. And I walk by it all the time, and you see him win and win and win. And last night after the Xfinity race, it was on Fox, and my grandfather said, I always like watching that 98 win. He came by, we were going to dinner, and he said, if you win tomorrow night, you need to slide through the grass like that. And I was like, all right. So I remembered it halfway down the backstretch and slid through the grass, had fun, and it's pretty awesome.
Go next to Bob, then to Mike, then to Brendan, then to Jonathan.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. How close do you come to wrecking yourself on that last lap?
I don't even remember, Bob. I just remember knowing that I wasn't going to lift is the biggest thing, and it just happened and worked out, and we won the race. For me, I remember catching the wheel after it hit him and just kind of wiggling a little bit, but heck, I really kind of didn't. I just thought we were going to race back and they were going to have a shot at catching me. So I was looking in the mirror the whole time back. Houston didn't say that it was the checkered flag. He never does. He's always a lap or two off.
He thought it was the one that goes still.
We can't. Yeah, we usually don't count really well together. I ask him about every race, how many laps to go, and he gives me the wrong number. And it's kind of a running joke against our team about our math skills. But yeah, I don't know, man. I had such a run, and I had to use it And if I lift right there, I get run over out the back too. It's part of this place. I've been run over. I've been in a catch fence and not mad after the race because it's just part of it, man. Your eyes roll back in your head and you say, don't lift. And you just go. It's like everybody does it. And it's part of it. And you just hope you're the one that comes out on the good part of it. And sometimes you don't. I hate that. But because last night I got wrecked when Eric in the 42 wrecked against the wall and it took me out in the Xfinity race. It's a part of it, man. This is crazy racing. That's why people love to show up for it because you never know who's going to win, and you just got to stick it in there and hope it works out. That's a good question. The next week we went to Kentucky, and I was a little sore, and I think there is. I mean, every time you wreck like that, you don't know. That was a big wreck. Like when it happened, I didn't know how big it was, and then you see videos of it, and you're like, "How did I walk out of that with nothing?" It's weird, and I don't know. I get nervous coming here. I think everybody does, and especially the first race in the Clash. I remember before the race, I was like, "Man, there's something about this place just makes you nervous." And but once you get in the race car and you settle in, the belts are tight, you're like, all right, it's time to go racing. It's fun again. And this place is just cool because of that. If it didn't make you nervous, something would be wrong, I think.
Go next to Mike, then to Brendan, then to Dustin, then we'll go upstairs to the press box.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. Congratulations, Austin. Moss asked me to tell you congratulations. He knew you'd appreciate that. This is actually for Justin. We talked yesterday about your car and the balance that you had to find, and you said you felt like you had the speed to win this if things played out right. You led one time for one lap. At what time during the race did you truly believe you had a car that was capable of winning this thing?
Every lap.
No. It's the only lap you got to lead is the last one. So, no, we had some struggling, some handling issues. Not bad, a little bit early in the race.
No, they were bad. I just was driving it. It was pretty loose.
I guess he didn't lead us to believe that, but no, we had to make some adjustments. I was surprised that it wasn't just our car; it was all the cars I was scanning. All the guys out there seemed like they're having handling issues. And we made some decent adjustments on the car, and I think we got it to where he wanted it. And about the second stage, we had made some adjustments that he liked, and he's pretty happy with the car. So it definitely took some work for sure on our end, and he did a heck of a job.
Go next to Brendan, then to Dustin, then we'll go to the press box.
Brendan Marks, Charlotte Observer. Austin, all of you, congratulations. You got a lucky penny earlier from a fan, same sort of situation as Dale Sr. 20 years ago. Can you walk us through that story, and then how special is that for you to have the same set of circumstances?
It was really cool. We did an autograph session before the Clash, and a lot of fans were there, and some kids that I don't think they knew a whole lot about racing, but they were enjoying themselves. And funny thing is, he had a white Ford hat on. I said, man, you got to take that off. And I signed my hat, gave it to him, and said, now look, I got to be your favorite driver, right? And he was like, all right, cool, I got you now, And he was probably 7, 8 years old, about the same age I would have been 20 years ago. And the next day, he had my hat on, and I was walking through the garage, and I seen him at the fence, and he yelled at me. And I turned, I seen he had my hat on. I was like, sweet. So I walked over to him. He was like, hey, I got this for you. And it was a lucky penny. Put it in the car, and it's sitting on the dash right now, and it's pretty special. I think that's really cool.
Next to Dustin.
I've never been that superstitious in my life. My grandfather's very superstitious. So I listened to him in the race. I ran the bottom more. I found a lucky penny. And it just worked out tonight, I guess.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. I had one for Austin and one for Richard. For Richard, just to be able to see on the scoreboard the 3 and the 43 together, what that means for you. And for Austin, obviously all you guys are supremely confident, but how much are you, I don't know if surprised is the right word, or is that not even in your lexicon in running here at this place?
You mean the answer? Yeah, I was you're reading my mind, Dustin. I looked up, seen the board up here, the 3 and the 43. I thought, how special is that for the history Petty's been here so many times, and Bubba done a great job in that car tonight, and I'm really proud of those guys. And yeah, I'm a little superstitious, I guess, but I'm just so proud of Austin for carrying the banner for RCR, and it was tough on him running that 3. A lot of people asked about it, but we had 97%, I would say, or 98% support from the Earnhardt fans that said, we're glad to see it back. We want to see it back. And so he handled the pressure well.
As far as being surprised, this race, like, we had to start in the back, and yesterday in the Xfinity race, I kind of played the race the same way, and I always just try and give yourself a chance to win at these places. I've won 2 of them doing it, just making it through the wrecks, but you always want to stay in that lead pack for green flag stops, and we actually messed up. The 17 waved me off like he was coming to pit road, and I thought, all right, all the Fords are coming to pit road, and Houston was like, pit, 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 and we pitted, and there was like 4 cars. I was like, oh, no, this is not good. So we're running out there by ourselves. I'm hoping for a caution. The 24 spins. Right, we're back in the race. And after that, it was, I don't know, 12, 13 to go, I think, 11 maybe. And I was like, all right, it's time to go. We're 3 wide, 2 wide, and I got to run off the top. And you're making decisions really quick, and you're trying to make sure you're making the right decisions. And I went from the top to the bottom because he always talks about having a lane. And I like running the top because it seems to carry more momentum. And he's like, have a lane to get out of in case a wreck happens. And sure enough, the 41 and whoever else wrecked. And I see him coming down. I'm like, hey, I got a lane here. I'm going to be all right. And it worked out, and we're sitting 4th. And it's not going through my head like, yeah, we're going to win the Daytona 500 right here. I'm just trying not to miss a shift and do my job. You know, you're so focused. You don't even think like 600 miles, 500 miles. When we won the 600, I wasn't thinking about winning. I'm thinking about doing my job. We go through the gears. Everything's fine. The 43's on my back bumper. Side draft the 11 tight to keep the lines even. The 10 gets out front, and we keep that line for a full lap. And the 43 gets a big run and shoves me. And the rest is kind of history after that. We got the lead and the win.
We're going to go up to the press box for a couple questions.
Yeah, Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Congratulations, Austin and the team. I just wonder what barn life is going to be like this week.
That's a good point. Barn Life, for all of the barn lifers out there, it's a YouTube show with me and my buddy. We're working on it pretty hard. I'd say we're going to be on a couple other shows this week, so hopefully we can get together with Barn Life, and maybe I'll just take Paul with me so we can document the whole trip. I think I can work out a plane ticket for him to travel with me, and me and my co-host will have a lot of fun for you guys to keep up on social media.
Keep it upstairs.
LeeSpencerMotorsport.com. RC, this has kind of been a rebuilding year for you, and I got a note from Andy Murstein, and he said, for the both of you to kind of come together and build your companies, rebuild the companies together, that it was a huge moment for the both of you to finish 1-2. What does it do to help bring in, I mean, you have tons of technical alliances, but what does it mean to bring in, someone of their nature into the fold?
It's special, I've been a Richard Petty fan for many years and been friends with Richard, and the opportunity came along for us to get together. But, I knew we had to do something different at RCR, and I brought Andy Petrie in. Eric Warren is now looking after our engineering, but Andy Petrie has brought so much more to our racing operation, and just the whole group that we've built around the 3 and the 31. I think with 2 cars, it's give us a lot more focus. Our cars were really fast, and it just depended on where you were tonight. And I think it's just special to be with the Petties and have them up there. And the future is going to be bright for us, I promise you. We tested at Vegas, and our intermediate cars are going to be great. So we're really looking forward to Atlanta.
We're going to come back downstairs. We're going to go to Jim, and then we're going to go down to Beth.
Jim Utter, Motorsport.com. This is the same sort of question, but for you, Austin. You talked before the season started about last year was a big step getting a win, but how much more you guys were looking forward to doing this year. Although a Daytona doesn't necessarily transfer to other tracks, as Richard said, you had a great test at Las Vegas. Can you be any more excited about going into the rest of this season?
Oh, I'm pumped. The Camaro ZL1 has showed some promise already, and obviously it takes a lot of pressure off when you get that first win and for getting in the playoffs. I think we have a high ceiling, especially we build fast race cars and we work together as a team, and the ceiling's as high as we want to take it. We just got to keep working together. I love Justin's demeanor on the box. Our team pretty much stayed together from last year, and that's really hard to do in this sport. We kept a lot of good guys. Only guys that left were guys that wanted to leave. You know what I mean? They went to another team, and it feels good to get my guys that stayed wins. But my mechanics, my engineers, they all stayed. Every one of them, tire guy all the way up to crew chief, they stayed. We lost like a tire changer and a carrier. Past that, everybody stayed the same, and we added some new blood on the pit crew, and it feels good. And most of them are my boys. The Wolf Pack was out there tonight representing.
We're going to go to Donna Beth and then to Tom.
This is kind of a fun question. As you know, your car is going to be on display here in Daytona Beach for a year. Are you going to put the penny in the car? Are you going to keep the penny with you as you race throughout this year?
I think that penny deserves to stay with its owner, the car. So it's going to stick right there. It's glued in on the left side of the dash, and you guys can go check it out. I'd like to find that kid, though. Maybe I could, if somebody knows him, if he could get him to the track tomorrow, that'd be really cool.
Go next to Tom. Tom, raise your hand, buddy.
Hey, this question is for Austin. Tom Bowles, front stretch. Austin, you talked about how you lost the lead draft there late in the race. How hard is it to keep your mind in it? And were you just sitting there in the final few laps going, how in the heck do I have a chance to win this thing? After being half a lap behind and, looking like you're going to finish like 15th.
The fight is never over. You keep on trucking, and I think we're running 13th, and I was like, our car's the cleanest car here. If we get a caution, we're going to be sitting really good. We had no scratches on it. I didn't get a scratch on it all day, and so the caution came out. Good Lord's looked after us, and we're here.
Any additional questions for our champions? Let's go to Mike, then to Bob, and then to Dustin.
Mike Hember, USA Today. 2 for Richard. When you decided about bringing the 3 back, was there any hesitation about putting Austin in the car, putting your grandson under that potential umbrella of continual observance from everybody, wondering how he's going to do and so forth? Was that a tough decision or not?
He knew from day one.
It was. I thought about, excuse me, sinuses get me. I asked some friends what they thought about it. Did I really believe in Johnny Morrison, some people like that? I asked Johnny about bringing it back because he and Dale were real close, and he sponsored Austin in the truck series. That was the first time we brought it back. And then Austin ran the Bandolera cars with 3, and when he asked me about running the 3, I said, that was Dale's number. I said, that's a famous number. He said, no, it isn't. It's your number. You drove it, and that's why I want to do it. So that helped make my decision is when he said, you drove the 3. So, but Dale made it famous. Trust me.
What happened here in '98, obviously very special. Does today top that for you?
I've been asked that 2 or 3 times, and I don't see how you could top either one of them or pick either one of them over the other. The most special part about this is my grandson. And 20 years later, we win the Daytona 500. Dale winning that, I know how special the Daytona 500 was for his resume. I was so happy for him to win that Daytona 500 because I knew how much it meant to him. And tonight, for Austin to come back, my own grandson, 20 years later, and win the Daytona 500, that's a special one. So both of them are special, but nothing's thicker than blood.
I will say, growing up as my grandfather's, the grandson, you always look up to people, and the relationship that him and Dale Earnhardt had was a friendship that you don't find every day. I mean, it's one of those friendships, a best friend that you trust and you love, and I could tell how much as I grew older their friendship meant, and still wears on him because he misses him. And I'll never be able to recreate any of that, but to be able to go to victory lane for him because he's given me everything I could ask for in my career. Everybody knows that. I'm here because of him. But to be able to deliver a trophy back to him feels pretty darn good.
We'll go to Bob, then to Dustin, then to Steven, then up to the press box.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Austin, how has your confidence been over the last maybe year and a half, and what do you think this does kind of for your career and maybe how people look at you?
Well, when I met my smoking hot wife, my confidence level grew, and it's still growing. So, but NASCAR is so hard, and I've got a great family that you go through ups and downs, and I've fought with my grandfather, I fought with my dad about my driving or how we're doing on the race cars and people and in general, and it's just it's good to have a family that cares and fights together with you. But confidence is, I try not to let it waver you, but it does at times. It happens, and you just learn to deal with the ups and downs. And luckily, I've had great people behind us like Dow and other sponsors that have kept pushing us along and stayed behind us through all of it. And, I've struggled. I mean, when I came from the Xfinity Series, you win races, you win championship, you win the same thing in the trucks, and you get to the Cup Series, and you're like, holy crap, these guys are good. And it takes time. I see Max Pappas back there in the back of the room, my buddy there. He worked with me for a long time and went through all of that. And it's I knew I could do it. I feel like I can do it. You never lose the doubt that you can't drive a race car. And when you do, you don't need to be doing it. You need to be doing something else. And I know it's there. And the support of all my guys and getting the right people around you. When I got Justin around me, my confidence level went back up. He trusts in me. He lets me make calls, and he sends them back to me when they need to be sent back to me. He calls me out too. So his demeanor fits, and when all the pieces of the puzzle get together and it works out, you do great things. Dale Earnhardt had a lot of crew chiefs. He went throughout and switched and did different things, and different combinations worked. And I think we found a great combination at RCR right now.
Next to Dustin, then to Steven, then up to the press box, and then back down to Jenna.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. A couple questions for Austin. What was last night? What was this morning like? Getting ready for the race. Obviously, as you say, there's always that confidence. Not like you expect to win the race, but what is it like, or what's the anxiety like, if at all, or is it at this point? And secondly, on that last restart, Hamlin was up there. Obviously has the most experience. Were you most concerned about him? And can you kind of talk about him in that last restart and how that played?
Yeah, sure. So last night I went to dinner with our partners at Dow, and I had a chicken parmesan. It was really good. I went back to the bus. Actually, I had some ice cream too. Forgot about that. Had some ice cream. Went back to the bus. Went to sleep. My dog kept me up all night, but it was okay. Slept pretty decent. We got up, and I did my rounds to all of our great partners that we have. Went to Coast to Dow and different people. And came back, and then my mom wanted to FaceTime me because she was closing up their house, and she wanted to FaceTime and pray. And Whitney's mom and somebody else was in there. We all held hands, and we prayed. And Whitney did a really good prayer. And after the prayer, she cried like halfway through it. And I've always been weird about crying. I don't know if a girl... I don't know what to say. I'm like, oh, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? I don't understand why you're crying, babe. And she kind of got mad at me for why are you crying? And she stormed off, and I was like, oh, gosh. So I walked back to the bathroom, like, babe, what's wrong? Like, why are you crying? Like, I get emotional when it comes to you. I'm like, well, that's good, but it's okay. I'm going to be okay. It's all good. And we had it out there for a second, and I was like, look, before I get in this race car, my mind's got to be right. So tell me you love me. And she's like, I love you. That's why I'm crying. I'm like, okay. Well, then she said, hey, this one's not going to be easy today. You're not going to lead every lap and be up front much, but you're going to do it when it's clutch. You're going to win when it matters on the last lap. She's like, I like it that way better. I was like, okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm not registering anything. I'm just glad she's happy again at this point. And we go through the whole motions, make it through everything all day, and she was right. We won in the last lap, so it's pretty cool story, really. All the stuff that happens throughout the race. I mean, that's word for word how it all went. So it's fun leading up to. People tell you certain things. My buddy Duggar, he texted me, and I was kind of jealous because he was like, I think I'm sitting with the Daytona 500 winner, and he was sitting with Ricky Stenhouse. He posted on Instagram, and I was like, sell out. And then he texted me. He was like, I think you're going to win the Daytona 500. I didn't text him back because I was like, yeah, you already said Stenhouse is going to win, you think. and we ended up winning, and he showed up in victory lane, so I'm going to give him some crap later when I see him.
We'll go to your right to Steven, and then up to the press box.
Steven Young, RotoGuys.com.
Did you pick me tonight?
I did. You helped somebody win $100,000. How important do
Wow.
you think fantasy is for NASCAR and just in general?
Oh, man. Fantasy is fun. My brother and I both play a lot of fantasy. It's really key. I think other fans that are wanting to get into NASCAR and learn more about it, there's a lot of cool things that we can keep adding to fantasy as far as pit stops go and intervals. There's a lot of things that we could start taking and adding to fantasy and make it more in-depth than football when it comes to that. And so I'm excited for the future of fantasy and NASCAR and hope that more of it happens. And it's awesome. Actually, you know what's cool? The NASCAR deal, the girl came in there in the commercial and she was like, I picked every driver, and it was like Chase Elliott, Blaney, blah, 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 Suarez. And me and Byron were sitting there, and our line was to be like, she missed out. I guess it worked out, or we should have been picked. So $100,000, that's pretty cool.
Let's head upstairs to the press box.
Matthew Mayer with CBS Sports, and my question is for Richard. Hey, Richard, was watching the race. It just seemed like a very emotional day for a lot of people to see that number 3 get back into victory lane. You even said yourself that it was a storybook tale, and it almost felt as though that Dale Earnhardt was here today with us in spirit. Now, if he was here with us in person, what would you say to him?
He would come over and grab Austin around the neck, put that old Dale Earnhardt hug on him, and tell him how proud he was of him. So I know Dale as good as anyone, and I know right now he's up there smiling down. Losing my voice.
Come back down here to Jenna.
Hey, Austin, Papa was in here earlier, and he noted something about the way the finish was, him and you, and he said people are tuning in and hopefully noticing the new face and the new change that's coming to NASCAR.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you think that this race and this finish and you younger guys being up there at the end is an indication of what he's saying?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. It's a great feeling in the garage because I've kind of been fortunate enough to drive through where you have great guys that I was like, when I came into the Cup Series, I'm like awestruck to be on the same track with Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And throughout that time, I feel like the whole time I'm like, man, you got to respect these guys. You don't want to get in their way. You don't want to do certain things, but you're also losing time on getting better because you're not being yourself. And right now, I feel like a lot of these guys that are coming in, we're all going to start trying to be ourselves because the people that led our sports for so long are kind of moved out. And, yeah, it definitely feels good to have Bubba and I up there and fighting. I think there's going to be some great battles this year with all the young guys. There's going to be storylines, and the NASCAR fans are going to love what they see. I really do.
Well, gentlemen, congratulations on winning the Great American Race, and we'll see you next week in Atlanta.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, press, for all your support. Losing my voice. Can it charge just a little more? Oh, shit.